But yeah, I mean, it is different, but you still get, as long as you're paid into insurance, you still get maternity leave if you're self-employed. It's just a little different.
Okay.
I
And
think,
when you were actually, go ahead, Ashley.
yeah, that's important to start highlighting the cost and kind of what the different kind of costs are in Austria and what the possibilities are. So, like, initially, when you get pregnant, I mean, you have to kind of ask yourself, okay, you can be publicly insured through the like universal health care, which I was, which I believe you were, Jesse, as well. But you opted in to get a private OBGYN and a private midwife, but you were still within the universal healthcare system that they have here, correct?
Correct. You could basically, oh, yeah, my base is always the universal government healthcare, but whenever you want to, you can go and select a private. And then what happens then is, like, for other things, like, for example, like if you go to a dermatologist or something, it's a similar thing. Like, you go and you pay for that dermatologist, but if that dermatologist says you need to go to the hospital for something, then the hospital goes, if it's, as long as it's not a private hospital, then you are back in the state system. And that's how it was, like, with the OBGYN, is I paid for my private, but then it was covered by the government, the birth. So yeah.
And why did you opt to go to a private OBGYN as opposed to
Yeah,
a
yeah, it wasn't really, it was just a matter of me not wanting to, because you have to call around and you have to find someone who's on the state system. And a lot of times they either don't want to take a new patient, or it's just didn't mesh. And I had a recommendation from somebody that this was a good OBGYN, and she was close to my office where I worked. And I figured, okay, well, I only have to go to an OBGYN once a year normally when you're not pregnant. And so I figured if I only have to go once a year, I pay whatever I have to pay once a year. I ride my bike to her office from my work, and it was easy. It was just convenience.
Okay, but this was your regular private OBGYN that you've had for roughly 5 years since you arrived in
Correct.
Austria?
Mm-hmm.
And then regarding the maternity leave, I think it's also important kind of just to mention for the listeners, in Austria, there are different forms of maternity leave.